Hey guys, Cast Cutters, aka Thrash Chad, here again. Want to talk about a band that is very near and dear to my heart and has been a subject of controversy lately, or being a subject of controversy for quite a while. And people have very differing opinions about this band, and probably one of the most popular bands in the world. But we're going to be talking about Pantera. Now, I love Pantera. I'm a Texan boy. I grew up in Texas, and I was born in 2000. So I was born whenever Dimebag was still alive, and then he died whenever I was 4, sadly. But because I was born, yeah, he died after I turned 4 years old, like a month later, and I'm a huge Pantera fan. I love Pantera. You know, I have Mulgar, Far Beyond Driven, Great Southern Trendkill, and Reinvent. Still also have Cowboys from Hell, but it's over there in my little whatever the fuck you want to call my shelf or whatever. But I want to talk about this band and come to their defense, because I see a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of metal YouTubers, and they talk about Pantera and the topic of racism and the topic of, you know, is Pantera racist? Is Pantera not racist? And I see a lot of people shit on Pantera. But for me, I'm a huge Pantera stan. I love Pantera. I love all their songs. And I love Dimebag Darrell, and I love Phil Anselmo. I love all the guys. So, I mean, I can't hate them. But I do understand why they're hated, and it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I am a huge Pantera fan. One of the things is that, you know, Pantera does get accused of racism. You know, Phil did do the, you know, White Power salute at Dime Bash in 2016, and Dimebag did say the N-word at NAMM, I think around like 2003, 2002. I don't know what he did. And also the usage of the Confederate flag and stuff like that. Here's how I feel personally as a Pantera fan. I honestly, for one, don't really give a fuck. But I understand why people do. But as a metalhead, and it's not just, you know, I'm not just a fan of Pantera. I'm a fan of a lot of bands. You know, I love Cannibal Corpse and all that stuff. I don't really see the issue with Pantera being a little controversial as far as that stuff goes. Because, honestly, if you're a metalhead and you've been in the scene, you know that there's a lot of bands that talk about rape, murder, killing children, and abortions, and doing all sorts of evil, fucked up shit to, like, women and children, and just some sick shit you will read. Like, there's some very sick and demented shit you will come across within the metal scene. But what I don't seem to understand is, why is the metal scene, why is Pantera so hated within the metal scene, or so hated within the more of the mainstream part of the metal scene, but bands like Cannibal Corpse, bands like Devourment, bands, you know, so many other bands, you know, there's shit tons of bands that talk about fucked up, demented shit. Why is the topic of rape and murder okay within the metal scene, but not racism? And why is Pantera so hated for this whenever other bands have been quite racist? Especially Malevolent Creation, you know, for their song They Breed. You know, Slayer, and they have done some racist stuff. You know, Jeff Hanneman did have the Nazi stuff in his room, and there was also a picture of him standing by the side a Nazi flag, and also he has done the Heil Hitler salute. I don't understand why bands like that, like Slayer, and also Motorhead, I mean, Lemmy was a collector of World War II artifacts, so I don't understand why we as metalheads put this limit on what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, when, you know, let's be honest, rape and murder towards women and children and all that stuff is pretty controversial and fucked up, you know, and but racism is the topic that, you know, is a no-no within the metal scene, especially with NSBM and stuff like that. And I'm not saying like NSBM is great by any means, but I do believe that if you do complain about racism within the metal scene, then you're kind of a poser, because, well, not really a poser, but it doesn't make any sense. How is one topic okay, but the other isn't? I mean, if you could talk about rape and murder and fucked up shit like doing to other human beings, then the topic of racism should be allowed. And that's coming back to Pantera. Yes, they have done some controversial shit, but that's the nature of metal. Metal is always going to be controversial. Metal is edgy. Metal is, you know, does piss people off. I mean, that's the fun of it. I didn't get into metal to, you know, to fit in. It was to piss off the squares. You know, I mean, I wear a Cannibal Corpse shirt. I want to buy a Regurgitation shirt. You know, the one where, you know, it has like the fucking the skeleton raping the decapitated bitch or something like that. I want to buy stuff like that, and also, I mean, you know, I want to piss off Christians and stuff like that. So, why does Pantera get hated on so much? And, you know, Phil's being called a piece of shit, Dimebag's being called a piece of shit, and all this stuff. Whatever bands, like, you know, like Chris Barnes sings about, you know, he made a song called Necropedophile, which is about fucking dead children. And, you know, intros ripped from a virgin's cunt and stuff like that. Wouldn't he be just as shitty? And I did talk to a friend about this, and he did say, well, there's an element of fantasy to it. I'm like, well, it's not really fantasy. I mean, it's more so the consequences behind, you know, killing and raping people is a lot more punished than, say, being a racist. Even though, yes, being a racist is deplorable, but they're really all bad within, you know, within its own thing. So whenever I see people hate on Pantera, it kind of bugs me, because it's like, well, if you're gonna have the same energy towards Pantera because they have Confederate flags and, you know, the members have said some questionable shit, then you should hold the same standard to bands that say other questionable things, like their lyrics talking about raping and killing women. Just saying. I mean, I think that the hatred for Pantera and the hatred for Dimebag and the hatred for Phil and all this shit about Dimebag's not a good guitar player and Phil's a piece of shit, not really. I mean, really, honestly, it's just metal, and that's kind of what is to be expected in metal. You know, I see people like fucking, you know, or the punk rock NBA, Finn McKenty, talk about it, and it's like, it's not okay. I'm like, well, dude, it's the metal scene. It's not the fucking hardcore scene or the punk scene. We're not based on politics. You know, like, yes, metal has been political, but at the same time, metal is, it's not like punk, and it's not like hardcore. It just doesn't have, it doesn't share, like, like punk and hardcore have always had, like, the political side to their music, and whereas metal has always been about the musicianship, and whereas lyrics are just kind of like, well, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there have been politics in metal, but that's the thing, is that it's really its own thing, and it's not, you know, I see leftists say, oh, well, it's a leftist genre. No, it's not. It's not a leftist genre. It's just a fucking genre that has so many different topics, whether it's history or, you know, various shit. So, honestly, I don't know. I want to hear your opinion. Do you think Pantera is racist, or do you defend Pantera? Do you think Pantera is, or, you know, the bands, do you think there's a huge double standard within the metal scene? And I'm not trying to sit here and defend racism. I'm more so defending the topics of what is off limits and what is okay to talk about and sing about, but what is not okay to sing about and represent. You know what I'm saying? And why do certain bands get away, like Slayer and SOD, but Pantera doesn't? So that's really my question, and that's really my defense for Pantera and really controversial stuff within the metal scene. So, anyways, that's the video, guys. It's Casket Covers, aka Thrash Chat, and I'm out. Bye.